What's up, Twitch and YouTube? It's MurphyD55 coming to you with another episode of Around the Gjallarhorn, and today our esteemed guest is none other than Swift, one of the biggest Madden creators on YouTube, overall excellent content creator here, and today we're going to get to learn a little bit about him, a little bit about his story, and what he's been up to preparing for Madden 23. So first and foremost, Swift, thank you so much for coming on to the show today, man. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Of course, happy to do it.
Awesome, man. And the first thing I want to start, we'll start right back at the beginning for you, I guess. Where are you from? Where's your home base?
I'm from Vancouver, Canada. I know we got a fellow Canadian right here as well,
Yeah,
so you love to see it. But yeah, Vancouver, Canada was where I was born, and then I went to school in Queens, so like
nice.
Kingston, Ontario. I'm assuming you know where that is
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
And yeah,
yeah. One of the biggest homecoming schools I know is Queens. Like, I'm
yeah,
pretty sure now. I'm trying to think because you're a little bit younger than I am. Queens homecoming used to be like there were like deaths every year. Like it was so big. It was such a huge party that I remember seeing like when I was in college, seeing like people like rafting down the street. Has it
yeah.
toned down a little bit since then, or is it still pretty wild for homecoming
We have a
weekend?
fun time. I don't know if anyone died while I was
Well,
there. I just
that's
graduated
good.
this year, but I was there for four, or I guess three homecomings. One of them we couldn't do because of COVID, but like
Yeah,
they're all pretty crazy. Like, but I think what happened is the police in Kingston started to get a little bit more like, I guess, aggressive with trying to make sure it doesn't happen. So I think
yeah,
it's less crazy than it used to be because they had like horse-ridden cops all over the
yeah,
place. Like it
yeah.
was kind of excessive, but yeah.
Yeah, there's something super weird about that too. If you're like out, drinking and partying, and then all of a sudden you walk out and there's a big horse that's like standing twice your height.
Yeah.
They do the same thing in like downtown Toronto in the clubbing district. It seems like the weirdest
Yeah.
place when all these people are partying, and then you have these horses there. It seems like a bad
Yeah,
recipe, but
honestly.
obviously it's
Honestly.
working for them a little bit. But so did you say you've gone through 3 years of college now? Is that right, or 3 years of university?
4 years. Four
Oh,
years now I'm
nice.
done. So
Oh,
yeah,
amazing. Congrats.
graduated like a couple of months ago. And yeah, it was really fun, honestly. Like people say college like, oh, it's homework, but like honestly, I had a great time there. I would
Yeah.
happily do it again.
Awesome, and that's a big transition too, like moving out to Ontario for during the school year, and then would you go back to Vancouver? Is your family still there? Like, would you go back in the summers to
Yeah,
hang
yeah.
out?
Yeah. So I would
Nice.
go back, I guess, like winter breaks or I guess Christmas break, and then whenever we had like at least a week off, I'd go back. If it was like a couple days, it's not worth it because it's a mission to get like from
Yeah.
Kingston to Vancouver. That's a full day of travel. So like if I could go back, I would, but like otherwise, I lived in a house with a bunch of friends there, so I was not necessarily like dying to go back
Yeah.
to my family whenever
Yeah.
possible. But yeah,
Absolutely, yeah, man. And then for
yeah,
those of you who don't know, any Americans who are in the chat right now, like when we want to go home and visit, like in Canada, we got like the second biggest country in the world. Like you got to take a big ass
yeah,
flight to get there. You're not just hopping in the car
yeah.
and driving for a couple hours to get to Vancouver
Yeah,
from Kingston.
literally. And the flights in America, it's like so cheap. You just hop on a flight like the day
Yeah.
before. In Canada, it's not that same vibe, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially like going to college during COVID too, where everything became more expensive because not as many people were traveling. It's kind of
Yeah.
been tough for sure. But what were you majoring in? Like, what was your program that you were studying when you were at Queens?
I was in commerce there, so like the business program, and yeah, it
Nice.
was it was good. Honestly, kind of worked out well. Like in that
Yeah.
program, the first 2 years are kind of tough, and then like afterwards, it's a little bit easier. So like I got to do my YouTube channel and focus more on it for those last 2 years. So like that all
Nice.
worked out really well, honestly.
Yeah, and we'll get into kind of your start into YouTube as well, but I wanted to ask you a little bit about being out west in Vancouver. Like, did you notice a big cultural difference from like the West Coast compared to like the Ontario people? Like, I'm assuming most people in Queens probably were from Ontario originally,
Yeah.
or all Canadians fairly the same.
I'd say it's similar, but like people in Toronto, I don't know, you live in Toronto, right?
Yeah,
People
yeah.
in Toronto just you guys have so many just silly slang words that like, oh my
Yeah.
goodness, like
Blame
there's
Drake
so
for
much,
it, man. Blame
yeah,
Drake.
there's so much just stupid slang in Toronto in my opinion, but like otherwise, I don't know, everyone's pretty similar. Like some of the people from Vancouver maybe are like a little bit bougie, some people that I
Yeah.
know, but otherwise, like I would say it's pretty similar, honestly.
Yeah, well, we're both from like the two
Yeah.
most expensive cities probably to live in
Yeah, so
in Canada. So yeah, if you want to
yeah.
move here, you guys got to start saving up now. I gotta say, but
Exactly, exactly.
yeah. So growing up in Vancouver, like, were you ever into sports or anything like that? Like, what were some of your like hobbies, interests when you were kind of growing up?
Definitely played a lot of hockey, like a
Yeah,
ridiculous amount of hockey. I used to play like probably like 5 times a week, I would say, and then like I would be during regular hockey season, and
yeah,
then I also played on like a spring team as well, which was like not as much, probably like 4 times a week, but like we used to have those early morning 6 a.m. practices. My dad
Yeah,
would drive me before and then go to school afterwards. So it was a lot of hockey. Had to wear like a suit to the game
yeah,
sometimes, but sadly, none of the people I played with ended up making it too far into like
yeah,
the advanced leagues. I do know
yeah,
a kid though who is also like I guess a few years younger than me. I was actually
yeah.
his camp counselor. He's probably getting drafted first round into the
No
NHL next
way.
year, which is pretty cool to see. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. It is kind
So
of cool. Like the NHL in Canada is kind of like borderline like a religion,
yeah.
and it's I get trolled by my chat all the time because like I'm a I played hockey till I was 12, and then I like that was my life. Like I was all about hockey. I had a huge
Yeah.
collection of hockey cards, and then when Vince Carter came to the Toronto Raptors, I kind of like completely pivoted towards like being interested in basketball, then football, then
Yeah.
baseball. I haven't watched an NHL game in like 20 years, so people ask me if I'm actually a
Really?
Canadian. Yeah, but I feel like it might be time to get back into it. But you're obviously playing like a fairly high level. If you had to wear a suit to the games and stuff like that, like that's
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah. Yeah.
impressive.
It was intense. It was intense. It was intense. But like it
Damn.
was fun. And I honestly agree though. Like I played so much hockey as a kid. Now it's definitely like I would play it if I could, but I honestly don't watch it that much anymore either. Like I'll obviously watch like the playoffs and stuff or like some
Yeah,
big games, but otherwise like I don't know. Maybe I'm a bit hockeyed out. We played too much hockey as kids.
exactly. Right. Yeah, you kind of get overexposed to it a little bit. But
Yeah.
man, the other thing I wanted to ask you about too, video games, because you were obviously like very active. You were playing sports 5 days a week growing up. But like, when did kind of video games become a big part of your life? Can you remember your first console when you were growing up?
Um, Definitely the first like actual console I had was Xbox 360.
Nice.
And I played Madden on that. Honestly, Madden was probably like one of the first games that I got, like, because we used to always play football like in recess in elementary school.
Yeah.
So like I definitely was into football at a young age and definitely played Madden. Honestly, never a big like shooter game guy like Call of
Yeah.
Duty and stuff. That never really interested me a ton. I'd play some like silly games on my like Xbox Connect, like I'd be ripping like Wipeout on the
Oh yeah,
Xbox
yeah,
Connect with my sister or something like that
yeah,
as a kid. And then after that, I think I ended up getting a PlayStation after that because all my friends were on PlayStation and we wanted to
yeah,
make like a Madden franchise or like an NHL franchise or
yeah.
something. And then
Nice.
that's where it all started. Honestly though, I would say I was like into video games, but not like crazy as a kid. But then just I guess as I got older, I just stayed into video games, and some of my friends like started, I guess, like phasing out of it. So that's why
Yeah.
I decided to do the channel ish.
Yeah, well, and that's the beauty of it too, is that you have this huge community like online that you can kind of meet. Interests
Yeah,
change as people kind of grow up and get older, but there's so many people out there who want to watch video game content on YouTube or on Twitch or on all these other streaming services that we have. But like, what kind of drew you to Madden? Were you like, what NFL team do you root for? Do you have a team?
I'm a big Saints fan. Maybe too big of a Saints fan. You see Drew right there in the
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
background. I don't know if it's cut off, but we got Alvin Kamara on that side as
yeah.
well. Big Saints
Nice.
fan. I bandwagoned them after they won the Super Bowl because
Yeah,
I think I was like playing some like football game on my phone and like you could only play as the Colts or the Saints. So I was like, I'll pick the
yeah.
Saints, whatever. And then just since then, I've been a Saints fan. So that's been like what? I guess like
It's
11 or
been a,
12 years.
it's been a while. It feels like just
It's been a
yesterday though, because I remember you guys had to beat my. I'm a big Vikings fan. I remember you guys had to beat up on
yeah,
Brett Favre to get
yeah,
there. Like he was battered and bruised after playing the Saints. Man, they showed pictures of his like legs in the locker room. He was completely purple. So I think you basically
yeah.
retired Brett Favre
I
after that
wonder why
game.
that happened. I mean, it
Yeah,
could be a little scandal going on in the background.
yeah.
I'm not sure of that. I don't really know.
We won't bring up Bounty Gate or anything. We won't talk about that too much. But
Yeah.
how do you think like with the Saints now? They're going through like a bit of a rebuild phase at this point. Do you have any optimism for next year's season, or are you kind of just like rooting for them no matter
Um,
what at this point?
Nah, I'm excited actually next year. I think we could do better than people expect because we got a nice defense. It's all like relatively young players, I would say, that are our key contributors, other than like Michael Thomas is getting a little old, Demario Davis is getting a little old, but
Yeah,
like on offense, I'm excited to see how it turns out because last year we had like T.Y. Montgomery lighting up as like wide receiver 3, Kenny Stills at like the wide
yeah,
receiver 2. So we finally have like MT, Olave, Jarvis,
yeah,
Jameis hopefully is healthy because like last year was like Ian Book, Trevor Simeon,
yeah.
just
It was a
absolute
mess.
painful for my eyeballs to even look at. And
Yeah,
then yeah, so I'm hopeful the offense is a little more exciting because last year was a boring season to watch because of
yeah.
that.
Absolutely, man. It's tough, and my Vikes have been down bad. We've never won a Super Bowl, so I don't even have like any positive memory to draw from. So hopefully we
Yeah.
get there at some point. But kind of moving on from like your start in video games. So you said you kind of played like some franchise modes with friends and whatnot. And then at what point did content creation start for you? Was YouTube kind of the first venue that you went on to make content? And when we
Yeah,
kind of started.
YouTube started for me like 6 years ago. I actually was watching an old video with my dad this morning, which is kind of funny, but like YouTube
Nice.
started for me 6 years ago. Me and my friend, my best friend at the time and still a good friend now,
Hmm.
we used to love iMav. I don't know if you ever watched him on YouTube,
No, I
iMaverick,
haven't.
but
Yeah, I've
yeah,
heard
he
the
was
name
like
though. Yeah.
yeah, we used to always watch his videos back in the day in high school. So we were like, you know what? Let's just see if we can do it for ourselves. Let's try and make some videos. So
Yeah.
started in 2016, kind of went for like I want to say about a year and a half ish, not really posting consistently, posting
Hmm.
like random videos like nano blitzes,
Yeah.
money plays, really random stuff, some gameplays, just really random stuff. Didn't really
Yeah.
do very well. And then we both went off to university, so we actually quit the channel like entirely with no plans of like ever
Yeah.
starting again. I think we might have had like a couple thousand subscribers maximum.
Yeah.
And then second year university came around and I was like, you know what, let me just try and post on the channel. And since then it's been unreal. I honestly that's all I can say. Like
Yeah.
I would not have imagined it would grow like this. But yeah,
Yeah, that's wild. And
that's
appreciate
that's that's
Monteg 619 with the sub, man. I appreciate everybody in here watching and learning a bit more about Swift's story. But yeah, that sounds incredible. Like even to get to that first, I guess to be a YouTube partner, you got to get to that 1,000 subscriber threshold too. So that's kind of the first big step. But can you take
yeah.
me back? You were saying you were watching an old video with your dad. Do you remember your first ever video that you posted on YouTube? And like, what was the production value compared to where you're at now? Would you say?
Our first ever video was I think we did like a coin video. So hey, it's funny that I'm still making those coin videos six
Yeah.
years later, but it was like making 20,000 coins in 20 minutes, which maybe at the time sounded good to us, and now that's just
Yeah.
absolutely terrible. But
Yeah.
we would record it with the like on PlayStation, you could like double tap something on your
Yeah.
controller and it would record onto your console. Then
Yeah.
we'd take that video, put it onto a USB stick, put the USB stick
Hmm.
into our laptop. Then in iMovie, I remember I would go and I would like hold my laptop in my closet because I thought it
Yeah.
was like a quiet space in there
Oh
and just
God.
like turn on the microphone and start talking into my lap. Oh, it was
That's
not good.
wild.
It was really not good. And then yeah, since then, I mean, it didn't really do very good at the start,
Yeah.
reasonably so, because I sounded like I don't know, maybe I was 9 years old and I was speaking into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, since then it's been doing all right. It's been doing all right. I can't
Yeah.
complain.
For sure. And like how much of your YouTube channel do you do yourself? Are you completely self-sufficient or do you outsource like any of your editing and stuff like that to other people at this point? Um,
Right now, the way that I do it is I outsource my thumbnails because
yeah.
thumbnails are very important on YouTube, and I'm not good at making them, so I
Yeah.
don't even want to. I don't even want to try. I've been working with these guys that do my thumbnails for like probably like 2 or 3 years at this point, so there's some
Nice.
G's.
Yeah.
This year I'm hoping to find an editor, and I've kind of been poking around a little bit, trying out a couple of people, just because I want to make my content a little bit different than what I've been doing, and kind of expand into like the
Yeah.
challenge type ultimate team videos that seem to be doing really well right now. So that's
For
kind of
sure.
what I'm hoping to do. But if I want to make those videos, having good watch time is really important on those. So like I would need them to be well edited, and that's kind of why I'm looking a little bit to find an editor. I kind of experimented with those types of videos, editing them myself a
Yeah.
little bit like 2 months ago, and they did pretty well. They would get
Yeah.
like 20,000 plus views, which was good at the
Yeah.
time for
Incredible.
Madden. So yeah, I'm hoping to get an editor and be able to post more of those types
Yeah.
of videos.
And so, you kind of mentioned seeing a lot of these challenge type videos kind of taking off. And, how much do you kind of get inspiration from other people in the Madden community? Like, do you find you watch a ton of different Madden YouTubers? Who are some of the people that you kind of can draw inspiration from?
I would say I don't necessarily watch a lot of Madden YouTube, but I'm always like scouring the Madden YouTube platform, just like
Yeah.
seeing what people are posting, seeing what's working, seeing like any creative ideas, how people are making their thumbnails, how people are doing their titles. But these days, I gotta give a shout out to Kinney because he's like literally changing the game for Madden YouTube. I feel like right
Yeah.
now, and I think the Madden community was so far behind on like our creativity of videos. Like if you look at the FIFA community, they
Yeah.
do a really good job with being creative, and Kenny did a good job, in my opinion, of like bringing some of those FIFA videos to life in Madden. And now, if you like look at even just the thumbnail styles that people do on like a regular video, those are almost all inspired by what he started. So hey,
Yeah.
big shout out to him. And I would say that his style of like challenge video has been doing really, really well for people. So
For sure.
him, I think the good innovators right now are him. I don't know if you watch Papa Mystery. He's a
I've seen
smaller-ish
him show up on
channel.
my suggested. I gotta check him out. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got some good creative videos, and I like what Savage is doing as well. Yeah, boy Savage. I
Yeah.
really like what those three guys are doing. in terms of
Nice.
like creativity and stuff. But yeah, it feels like it always changes every year. So we'll see who pops off in 23.
For sure, and like you said, some stuff is always going to be in demand. Like you said, coin stuff, you were doing it way back when you started. You're still doing it now
Yeah.
because that's kind of one of the things that people always want to know. How can I get a good team without having to spend a ton of money? So
Hmm.
that's always going to be valuable. But it's also there's definitely some benefit to keeping it fresh, even for like yourself, I'm sure, and for your own sanity, like to be able to try different things.
Yeah.
And it can definitely get
Yeah.
stale if you feel like you're kind of rinse and repeat.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I
your
agree.
content has seemed to stay very fresh and still resonates a lot with your audience, and still showing lots of growth this year for sure.
Yeah.
It's funny. I had Kenny on was my last guest on here too, and a
Hmm.
lot of people have been saying, one thing I got to say about man YouTubers, you guys do keep your ear to the street. Like I'm hearing the same thing. I'm
Yeah.
hearing about look at FIFA, look at what Kenny's
Yeah.
doing, look at that.
Yeah.
You guys know what works, and you guys are able to implement that. So kudos to you. Whereas like when I
Yeah.
upload stuff, I have no idea what I'm doing at this point. I'm still in those where you were at 6 years ago,
Hey,
probably in the closet
we all
recording.
start there. We all
Yeah.
start there. I mean, I hope you're not recording in the closet,
No,
but I
I'm
hope
not
you're
in the
at least.
closet. Might as well be though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned a few of your kind of inspirations and creators that you look to, but a lot of I know that you've been doing some collaborations or at least meeting up with a whole bunch of streamers in the community. I saw a tweet today. I think it was from you. It was with you, Xerxes, Victionary, and oh my god, it's slipping my mind right now.
Scome was in that one.
Yeah, that's right. ScoMo in there. So
Yeah.
so what are you guys working on that all these big YouTube guys are getting together here? Is this a top
Well,
secret
that
thing?
was I guess there's one thing that's top secret that I
Yeah.
won't mention, but the thing
Yeah.
that we did is we all went to New York with Underdog Fantasy. I'm assuming you've seen that
Yeah,
because
yeah,
they
yeah.
basically sponsor almost every Madden YouTuber at this point. But
Yeah.
yeah, we're in like this group called like the Incubator Group with Underdog, which is basically they like selected some creators who they want to like help grow and kind of partner up with their company a little bit more.
Yeah.
So we were all in New York, did some cool stuff there. I went to a Yankees game. That photo was like, they had us go into like a studio, which was like, I've never been in a
Yeah.
studio before. This was like a professional studio. They're taking photos of
Yeah.
us, making us like talk to a camera. I felt like a celebrity in there. I don't know if everyone else did. And they took that photo. So I put
Yeah.
that one out on Twitter. We did some cool stuff as well. It's actually my first time ever meeting like any YouTubers in person. So that was sick because
Oh, wow.
I've talked to a lot of those guys before, like on Twitter and stuff, but
Yeah.
never met them. So that was nice.
Yeah.
And yeah, met the company there. And then, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Well, it's cool. Like COVID kind of made it impossible to do any of these IRL type meetups and whatnot. But it is always nice to put an actual face to these guys that you're watching their videos and whatnot, collaborating with.
100%.
I think did you had dinner? I think my guy Fendler too might have been at a dinner with you guys at some point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first night we got to New York. I was in Europe with all my friends, or not all my
Nice.
friends, but like some of my roommates. We just graduated, and then I basically came from Paris to New York, saw the Eiffel Tower and Times Square within 14 hours. It was
That's
a ridiculous. It was a ridiculous time, like
Yeah.
really ridiculous. But yeah, Fendler
That's
came out for
crazy.
dinner with us that night, so that was cool to meet him as well.
Nice. So were,
Yeah.
were these like your college roommates that you were overseas with, or old
Yeah,
friends?
yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
All
Where'd
my
you guys
college
go? What was the
roommates.
trip like? Was it just Paris, or were
Oh,
you doing a tour?
Oh, it was a fat trip. It was a fat
Yeah?
trip. We were in Barcelona, we were in Athens, we were in Rome, Budapest, Prague, Amsterdam, Paris. So it was a
Wild.
crazy trip. We were
That-
there for like 6 months, or not? Sorry, not 6 months.
Yeah.
6 weeks. What am I saying?
Still, that's a
And
great trip, man. Holy
yeah,
cow.
because we all graduated, so we were like, you know what? Before they all start their jobs, before I start
Yeah.
my, I guess, fun job that I've got
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
YouTube and playing Madden 23, we were like, you know what? We might as well go. So yeah, it was a fun trip. It was a really fun trip.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully, like your line of work, and you've committed to doing this YouTube thing full time at this point, which is pretty incredible to be your own boss right out of university. Not something that many people can say. You'll notice your friends once they get into that 9 to 5 grind. You'll probably be the happiest one in the group, at least hopefully, in the coming years.
I'm already noticing it. One of my friends is like, "Oh, I've been there for like 3 weeks," and he's like, "I want to quit already." I was like,
Yeah.
"I relate.
it's-
I
yeah,
relate."
3 weeks is wild. Okay, he's got to have a little bit more heart than that, but still,
I know
that's kinda
he's got to have
crazy.
more heart than that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
What was your
Yeah.
favorite of those all those cities that you kind of visited? What was your favorite one, or the one that you would recommend the most for somebody to visit if they get the chance?
I would say up there was Barcelona was really cool, and Budapest. Those two are really cool. Budapest, you could do on like a crazy budget. Like we would go out for like breakfast, for example,
Yeah.
and pay maybe like 15 Canadian dollars, and you could literally get like you could get like a French toast dish and an eggs dish for like
Yeah.
$15.
Not bad.
Crazy. If you wanted one
Yeah.
of them, you can get them for like $7 for
Yeah.
like breakfast, like at a nice place.
Yeah.
And the Airbnb we stayed in was cheap there, and then Barcelona was also really fun because like there was a lot to do during the day and at night, like great
Yeah.
nightlife, really
Yeah.
cool stuff to see during the day. So
For sure,
yeah,
nice. I heard Paris you can't do on the cheap too much though. I hear everything in Paris is pretty expensive for the most
yeah,
part. Yeah,
everything is pretty pricey there.
yeah.
But have you ever been to any of those places in
I,
Europe?
I've been to Amsterdam like right before COVID. Actually, I had a wedding to go to in Germany. I actually have like a friend who lives in Germany, so that was really cool. Like I've been to Germany a couple times. Haven't really traveled much since COVID, but Amsterdam was definitely really cool to stay in. All the canals and
Yeah.
whatnot, and then
Yeah,
the
it was
red
so
light
nice
district
there.
at night is kind of
Yeah.
something to see. Although really like
It
most
is
things in
something to see.
Canada are already legal, so it's really not that much of a shock. I'm sure if you're like living in the deep south somewhere, you might be like, oh my god, this is like crazy. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's not as wild as I thought it would be. But I was traveling with my wife too, so different vibe than traveling with a bunch of your boys from college for sure.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was honestly like I was surprised at just like, oh, there it
Yeah.
is.
And when you're traveling like for 6 weeks, like was your YouTube channel still active during that 6 weeks? Did you have videos scheduled to release, or did you kind of take a complete break at that time?
I did some. I think I posted maybe once every 4 days. I recorded a lot of videos before I left. So I just had to edit a little bit on the trip. I just brought my laptop with me, and then I think I maybe made like 3 videos there. I have obviously we all know the Madden community is awesome. So like I have
Yeah.
a bunch of people on Twitter that I know, and I was like, oh, could you send me some clips of like I think there was maybe like some new packs in the game that I wanted to do a video on. They
Yeah,
sent me the clips. I voiced it over. So like stuff like that, kind of taking it back to the old days, except I
for sure.
wasn't in the closet recording. I was able to just do it on my phone like a regular human being, talking into the microphone. So
Yeah.
that was good. But but
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, and I noticed too, like when I was kind of scrounging through looking at some of your YouTube videos and whatnot, you have a second YouTube channel as well that looks like it's more kind of like IRL type content on that channel. So what spurred you to make a second channel? Is that something you're actively posting on, or just kind of every now and then?
Oh, my friend fully was like, I want to do a podcast, and I was like, sure, I'm happy to do it. Like basically,
Nice.
he edits the videos, he would put them up on the channel. We did it when we all lived in a house together, so it was pretty easy back then. I don't know if we'll continue doing it now because he lives in Toronto, I live here,
Yeah.
so we'll see what happens with that. It was honestly just kind of like a fun thing to do, easy for me to do, nice
Yeah.
to share the stories with my subscribers. And he was like, I want to try and make the channel big. It didn't, and the videos didn't really end up doing that amazing. Maybe because we
Yeah.
were posting them like when Madden is dead and people aren't as
Yeah.
interested in like me as a creator that much. So
Yeah.
it was fun to make them. It was easy, but I don't really think I don't know if they'll be continued. But podcasts
Yeah.
are fun. Like doing
For
this is
sure.
fun. Recording those types of clips is fun. So we'll see what comes of that type of stuff in the future. But yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a different kind of vibe. But do you see
Yeah.
yourself, going forward? Like, do you see yourself as always being a Madden creator, or do you have any vision of eventually branching out to other games as well?
Other games? Nah, I don't. I don't play
Yeah,
too many other games. I play 2K a little bit. Like if games are popular, like Fortnite or Fall Guys, I'll play
yeah,
them. But like other games, probably not.
yeah,
Everyone says like when we were on that trip, I was talking to like Vic Zerxcomo, obviously, and Vic I would say is the leader of like trying to push his content to more like
yeah,
IRL type football stuff and expand a little bit out of Madden. I don't think my channel's
yeah,
personally in that position quite yet, but
yeah,
like maybe down the line you kind of see channels as they get bigger, like MMG. He's able to incorporate more IRL stuff pretty well,
yeah,
and then even channels that are not totally his size, but like in that 300 maybe to like 700K range,
yeah,
they can incorporate IRL stuff pretty as well. So like it's kind of a will see for now, just
yeah,
because it's nerve wracking. Like if you
yeah.
post some content that's really poorly received by your audience, it can really hurt you in the algorithm. So
Yeah, absolutely, and that's another thing too, guys. I was talking to Kenny last week about the book, the YouTube Formula, that talks a lot about the algorithm. Have you read that book too, or heard of it?
of course I've read that
Yeah.
book. Yeah, he
Has
recommended it to me.
everybody in that incubator group, has everybody got a copy of that book that they've read through? Do you think at this point?
I don't know actually.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have. I gotta give it to some people. I think Zerk could use some improvement on his content because it's kind of ass. So I should give him that
There you
book.
go. There you go. Hey, you know what? Honestly, though, though. Like people don't realize, and Kenny talked to me last week. You know, you can make content for yourself, and then you're gonna have one viewer, or you could kind of get to know your audience a bit more, and then find out what they like. So you're 100% right. Like, yeah, Victionary was talking about how, you know, he's doing a lot of 2K stuff, and he really doesn't care at this point too much about the game, but it can definitely be nerve wracking, and you know, as much as we want to do something that we love, you're also always looking at those analytics too, and the fact that you could put out one video that kind of bombs, and then you're fighting for a couple of weeks to get back in that positive algorithm. That's definitely a scary thing to do. But you know, who knows?
Big Skull balls though. He's willing to post those other types of videos. Like I respect it. Like,
absolutely,
you had him on the podcast earlier, right?
I did a couple weeks ago. I think it was I had Kenny, and then like probably about 2 weeks ago I had Vic on here too, which was kind of cool. So now I just got to get Xerxes, and then I've completed the full photograph of guests here. But I know he's a busy man. I know, especially like, you know, it's a tough time now with Madden 23 right around the corner. If anything, this might be the one quiet time that you guys might have during the year, because it's pretty much like a, you know, you get at least 10 months, 10, 11 months of really good content out of Madden, and then it starts to slow down.
Yeah. Just good, though. You need a break.
For sure. Break, so. Absolutely. Like, everyone needs to have a little bit of, you know, paid vacation time off. But that being said, like, NCAA coming out next year, too, which seems to have, you know, it might have a fair amount of crossover with, you know, being made by EA and being a football game. Is that a game that you look to explore at all, like, just to play it, or do you think you're going to steer clear?
See, I don't know. Like, here's what I think. I don't really love college football. Maybe it's because I'm from Canada. Like, do you watch college football and like follow a team much?
I find it overwhelming. I find it overwhelming. Like, there's like 117 Division 118. It's like, how can I possibly stay aware of everything that's going on? And then the playoff format's crazy.
Yeah.
I like to watch it. Like, if I'm with friends, I'll watch it socially. Like, I can enjoy watching a big game. But the other problem with college football, you'll see like a top 25 team face like a team that's maybe ranked, you know, 75, and they win by 60 points. It's like, it's not a close game. So I love the pageantry. I love how big the crowds are, but like, I just find I don't know where to start with college football.
You know? If we lived in the States, you know, we're close to a team, or we went to college, it's great. You can be a fan of that team, but like, I don't know. Maybe it's just because we're from Canada, but NCAA football doesn't excite me, and it feels like people on Twitter that are from the States are like absolutely jacked up for this game. So I don't really know what I'm gonna do when it comes out. We'll see.
Absolutely. Like I think people, a lot of their loyalties are just as strong, if not stronger, to the local college team than it is to their NFL team, which I can't relate to that. But I mean, you know, that's another. You already said that you picked your NFL team. That's the one thing about Canadians. We can kind of pick a team anywhere. We're not really geographically drawn. If anything, I would have thought you'd be a Seahawks fan, maybe being out in Vancouver.
Yeah.
I bet most of your friends probably root for them.
Yeah, I got a lot of Seahawks fans. Yeah.
Yeah, but so you said you picked the Saints because of that video game you're playing on your phone at the time. Like, it's kind of wild, but you know.
I mean, hey, once you pick a team, you got to stick to it. So
for sure,
I'm not too upset to be a Saints fan. We've been relatively quite successful, so I can't complain too much there.
I kind of feel like I messed up, because honestly, like, Toronto is like about an hour and a half away from Buffalo, and I feel like you know,
Buffalo would've been a good one.
I probably should be a Bills fan, although then I would have had to go through like those 4 Super Bowl losses in a row. So I mean, it's a bit of a give and take, but
they have great times right now, though. They're probably the most They're probably the most fun team to be a fan of right now. 100%,
and if you saw the player rankings coming out, Josh Allen, I think he's the only quarterback with 99 throw power to start the year in regs. Not that regs are the most fun to play, but I mean, it's still something.
I love how everyone on Twitter gets so hyped up about regs ratings when we all know you're not playing regs. Oh, you're not playing regs. Like, people are tweeting about it, like, in the Madden community, like, oh, I wish this guy had higher ratings. Like, come on, man. We're not
love
actually
to complain,
regs,
man. We love to complain. Like, no matter how good a game is, and no matter how, you know, perfectly developed it is, we're always going to find things to nitpick. But yeah, regs ratings, I'm not going to die on that hill. Absolutely. I've not played a regs game in my life, probably. But you know, the one thing that I wanted to kind of ask you last year is you know, goals for the future for your channel, or just for goals in general. Like, you know, what do you see the Madden 23 year looking like? What are some of the goals you have set for this upcoming year?
I would say I gotta work on some like numerical goals, because when I was like on that push for 100,000 subscribers, that was really motivating. So I gotta figure out some numerical goals for this year. But in terms of just like content goals, I'm hoping to make my videos better, because I feel like my videos haven't improved a ton over like the last couple of years of me being a YouTuber. So I'd like to see my videos improve a little bit. I want to post more shorts, like hopefully a short a day would be ideal. And then stream a little bit more often as well. I'm streaming like once a week now, so I would like to get that number up to like twice a week. And then, just continue to community build. Like, that's probably my favorite part of like this whole thing, is like community building, whether it's like streaming and talking to my subscribers, or like trying to reply to comments. I try and reply to like as many comments as I can. Usually I set aside like 30 minutes after I post to reply to every single one,
Yeah,
getting back to people on Twitter, just continuing to community build is probably my favorite thing about this. So like hoping to continue to do that as well. And those would be probably the main
absolutely.
goals: more shorts, streams, and community
Yeah.
building.
And when you're looking to do live streams, are you going to be streaming on the YouTube platform primarily, or like do you have any? Now, as a YouTube partner, are you able to live stream on Twitch, or is there like a gray area there? Are you able to stream on multiple platforms?
You can stream, yeah, you can stream wherever you want. I've been streaming on YouTube for the past little bit, and like I think in Madden 21, I had some ridiculous numbers there. Like I would
Yeah.
be streaming for maybe my last couple of games of Weekend League. If I win, I finish top 100. If not, I don't, and I'd
Yeah.
have like over 1,000 concurrent viewers. Like
Wow.
crazy,
That's
crazy
wild.
numbers. And
Yeah.
Madden 22 was a little bit of a down year for YouTube streaming. I would probably like a good stream would probably be having like maybe 500 people concurrent
Yeah.
would be like, wow, that's a good number for 22.
Yeah.
So we'll see what I decide for 23. I like YouTube streaming because I can reach more of my subscribers and like
Yes. Yeah.
convert more of those people that are like, oh, I've watched maybe a couple of Swift videos into, oh, I'm actually a Swift fan because I've watched the stream and I got to know him a little bit better.
Yeah.
So I really like that aspect about streaming on YouTube, but
Yeah.
which you can definitely make more money. So like, I think I'll probably stick with YouTube, but we'll see.
Yeah, nice. And we got your link in the chat here. I put a little exclamation point Swift command. So, guys, definitely make sure that you follow him on YouTube. Catch the live streams on there. Hopefully, Twitch doesn't take my channel down for promoting another live streaming platform. But I think it's worth it for the podcast today for sure. Have you noticed, like, is there a lot of crossover? Like, do you find you're getting a lot of subs when you're doing a live stream that'll, come over to your channel and watch your long form content that you're putting out as well? Or is it kind of like a different group? Like there's the live stream crowd on YouTube, and then there's the guys who like to sit and watch the videos.
I'd say it's honestly a lot of crossover. Like
Yeah.
usually what ends up happening is like I'll see someone maybe comment like on a video rarely, then I'll see
Yeah.
them in my live stream, and then after they've like gotten to know me in my stream, then they're commenting a ton on my videos. So it's kind of like a little bit of like a loop where they like start not really knowing me, then they come in the stream maybe just to like get to know me and hopefully they
Yeah.
like me. I mean, maybe they don't, maybe they don't subscribe,
Yeah.
but if they do like me, then they end up like becoming a bigger fan. So I kind of
Yeah.
try and push those subscribers that are like watching my like tip videos. Like a tip video, it's hard to get to know me through. So
Yeah.
I kind of try and push them through that funnel, and then yeah,
For sure. And
that's
and
that's kind of the goal there.
absolutely. And there's one thing, and I've said this to basically all my guests. I've been very lucky to get a lot of really great guests coming on here with a big platform themselves. And I've always said this: the Madden community, no matter how big content creators are, I feel like Madden specifically takes time to kind of reach out to these smaller communities. And even though my platform is much smaller, hopefully some people are able to watch this live or watch it on YouTube and get to know you a little bit more, and then hopefully want to go out and watch your videos. That's kind of the goal that I have whenever I do one of these things. So I do appreciate you doing that. The last
of
thing
course.
I wanted to ask you about here, so we talked about your goals for Madden 23. Like do you have in your head, have you mapped out any kind of a plan, like long term, what you want content creation to look like for you? Do you think this is something that you can do long term? Is that the goal?
Well, see, now you sound like my mom. That's the question my mom's been asking me.
Oh God, I'm old.
No, that's okay. My mom, she asked a similar question. Like, I mean, I'll give you the same answer that her do. I
Yeah.
think it's kind of like being an athlete and like you stay in this business for as long as you can because there's no
Yeah.
reason you want to leave. And then if the game pushes you out, maybe I'm just like too old and I can't keep up, or maybe people have been watching my videos for too long and I end up falling off, like whatever it may be. Hopefully by that point, or I know 100% by that point, I'll be really happy with what I've accomplished. And then, yeah, I don't really think there's like a date on it necessarily. Like, I'm not like,
Yeah.
oh, I only want to do this for 2 years or 5 years. So, like, I'm kind of in the position where I'm just taking it year to year, I guess. And
Yeah.
hopefully my channel continues to do well. I think we're in like an incredible space right now because this is just
For
going to
sure.
continue growing. YouTube, Twitch, all this stuff. So, there's no reason for me to be like, oh, I want to leave in a couple years, but
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see. I'm
Honestly,
hopeful I can continue to do it.
I think YouTube, specifically one of the biggest platforms out, billions of daily users out there.
Yeah.
I don't see there being necessarily a cap. I see it being a thing. If you keep doing what you're doing now and continue on the path you're doing, like there's no reason why you can't continue growing to that crazy, level of subscribers that you never thought possible when you first started out.
Yeah.
So I'll be rooting for you on this journey for sure, man. I hope that you're
Appreciate
able
it.
to stick in the content creation game for as long as humanly possible, and people are obviously enjoying your content, man. So I really appreciate you coming through, doing this interview, and taking the time to sit down and have this talk. I definitely
Yeah.
felt like I got to learn your story a little bit, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks for that, Mom. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I know. I'm not gonna live that down. But Rose Shocker in the chat said, "Mama Murphy." I got to make a Mama Murphy emote now. That's you know what I always joke around how I'm one of the oldest guys on this platform. I'm like 34 years old. I'm not that old, but like in comparison to the majority of YouTubers and Twitch streamers, I'm like the granddad of the community here. So Rose Shocker, thank you for that comment, man. I appreciate it.